Welcome to our podcast, Keep Walking With Me. Today, we have a very special guest from Barcelona, but he's not from Barcelona. So, I would like to welcome Gerard van Berg and probably ask you, in a nutshell, who is Gerard?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was born in Holland, as you can figure out from my name, Gerard van Berg. And I was born in a little beautiful village in the Netherlands, where we had more cows than people. And I grew up in a very natural environment, and also thanks to the love of my dad for nature. I was almost, let's say, raised and born in the forest. And I studied physical education in Holland, but straight afterwards I went to Spain, where I was invited by my actual wife exactly for a summer, which is still lasting. And and from little on actually I spent my days in the woods and the mountains, and I never in Spain I started with my mountain guiding expeditions, but I always focused being in nature, not as a mean being with people, but as a vehicle also to learn and to get new references, and especially for myself in that period to be really challenged, to know myself better, and to challenge the rules and the restrictions and the known within life, and that gave me a lot of baggage, and actually, well, that gives me the opportunity now to take people into wilderness and give them learning experience of being and learning in nature.
So I guess, Gerard, that you walk a lot. So I'm going to ask you, if you remember why walking actually became such an important part of your life. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it's intrinsic in human being, no? So walking means being alive. If you don't walk, you can see it in the animals, no? So if a newborn animal doesn't walk, it dies, no? So literally, so I think movement is life. So it's very simple, but it's that. And also, so walking in itself, it allows you to get to places, and it doesn't mean a destination, but to move around, no? So in the literally meaning.
All right.
Great. And is there any walk, any particular adventure that shaped your life or that marked you in some way that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think there's a lot actually. As I told you, I've always been challenging myself and others actually. So I don't think there's like a special walk that shaped my life particularly. It's been a continuous process of walking around and exploring the boundaries of life, no? Geographically and personally. But if I have to choose one example, probably one of the best examples is my contact that I had with the Bushmen. So we walked in the Kalahari Desert, and it gave me so much insight, and it gave me so much connection, and also the wisdom that was shared, and that gave me different perspectives of life, opened a new plane of possibilities for myself.
Oh, let it sink. Well, originally you are graduated from, I believe, physical education, and you spent so much time on outdoor, and actually you have spent as well time on special education. And by the way, we had some pretty inspiring conversations about learning and how learning could be improved. Do you want to share with us how actually you see combining outdoors and education in kind of a dream school? Because I guess that we do have that in our minds.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So as you know, I think one of my core beliefs is that we are nature. No, there's no separation. We're one. So the intrinsic value of nature is also inside of us, and we can see, well, in the last decades, how that connection got deteriorated by how we treat nature. And instead of having a relationship of belonging, it's more a relationship of possession, and that has, and well, it had, and it still is having a really strong impact on ourselves, no? Because if we are nature and we are destroying our habitats, um, and it has a direct effect on ourselves as well. And what we do in our wilderness trails is also let people experience again the intrinsic value of nature. It's just, I mean, a tree is not just wood that you can turn into paper, but it's also our oxygen. At the same time, there's so much beyond also the visible, no? So being in nature and us being energetic beings, it brings us to what I call the super learning state. And a super learning state is where you experience openness, calmness, clearness, peace, but also joy and coherence, no? The feeling of belonging. And if you share that with other people, that feeling of coherence creates a deep connection, no? Also with the people that you're with, and but also with the environment. And what I always found, and that's what we call the magic zone, is so we don't have to do that much to learn. No, it's like a little child. If a little child is in super learning state, which well, scientists say is around 6-7 years, no, when the alpha frequencies start to work in the brain. So the young child, they get into super learning state, and we forget that, no. In our daily lives, we get into the higher betas and in the stress, and we're not open anymore to receive, no. And you can see that, like just like a simple example with listening, no. We like to admit we don't listen anymore, and when you don't listen, you don't receive. And nature is always giving and receiving, because it's always in yeah, it's a learning hub, no? Because well, I don't know if you know about the human frequency, which is actually more or less at the 7.83, no, which is somewhere between alpha and theta frequency. And nature is always in the super learning state. So if we flow into the being of nature, we also get in that super learning state. And you don't have to do so much to get there.
Well, that's really inspiring.
You need to be there, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, but even I would even say you can also imagine being there, no? Just closing your eyes would also bring you there, no? Because now we know the power of envisioning as well. So closing your eyes and travel to the place that brings you to that super learning state is also an option.
It's so interesting you are saying that, because quite often we hear from people that, for instance, come on walking mentorship programs, and actually many people, they actually never did anything like that before. And after they come back home, imagine after a month, after 3 months, they share with us that they are seated, at a desk in the office, in a meeting. They suddenly close their eyes and they kind of time travel, and they are in a specific point on that mountain, on that walk near the river, and they can hear, they can feel, and it sounds pretty real.
They can live it again, actually, and enjoy exactly that that deep connection to nature and to ourselves, actually, because what you said before, obviously, we are not separated from nature, and so it's actually connecting to ourselves. It's the most amazing feeling. Let me shift a little bit our talk here. you are from Holland, as you mentioned, traditionally a very determined and self-reliant people. You are also a person with a very high social conscience, a very deep concern for fellow human beings and for the social impacts of our actions. How do you look at our present situation, the whole I would say conflict between the natural desire for safety and security, but on the other hand, the intrusion on our freedoms and our lives, actually, even our family lives with our kids and all that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I believe maximum uncertainty is also maximum possibility, and in the dualism that we live in, no, in the dimension of life, I believe that it's a fantastic moment for awakening. It's a fantastic moment to have conversations. So shifting from discussions to conversations and to understanding and practicing compassion, no, and caring for the other persons. And in that space, everything that runs out from there, or either awakens you more, or will empower the people to be more in that space, no, of understanding. So if we would take it like on a real extreme place of black and white, I would say no. So like the dark always serves the light, no. So it's at the end it's all the same, and everything that's happening helps us to become more aware. And I think that's the challenge, no. So are you able to be in your center, to be able to see the things from a place where you care and where you understand and where you feel connected?
Well, thank
and
you
then
so much.
everything just makes sense.
Yeah, that's really a great answer. I'll be honest, I was a little bit afraid to pose this question because I thought it could kind of spoil the mood of our talk, but you dealt with it perfectly. Thank you so much. Really, I really love your answer.
Well, I guess we can wrap up the answer maybe asking you to choose a first music from your choice.
Yeah, that would be Hollow Cough by The Woods.
All right, so let's listen to it. So, Gerard, you have mentored different leaders across the years, especially outdoors. I can imagine in very challenging situations. And I would like to ask you, what did you learn from doing so?
Yeah. To make it really simple, I think everything comes back to love and the connection between each other. Because indeed, in our programs, we create a space where the challenge will find the person exactly where he or she needs to find it, and actually it's the challenge itself that finds the person. No, it's not the other way around. So, and what we always find is that within the whole spectrum of the emotions that we found in that challenge, that there's always one center. So, for example, if we talk about fear, you would say bravery is necessary to overcome fear. And actually, what I found out that bravery keeps fear alive. No, so I don't want to say that you don't need bravery to make first steps, but to get to next level, you have to center yourself and take the attention to somewhere else. And when you take the attention to the heart, which is the place where you create from, you can literally, create new possibilities and new programs. And just to give a really clear example, I just came back from a program in the Alps, and we had a 9-day deep immersion in the Alps with beautiful people, in living all experience and all spectrums of emotions, and and beings, and one of them had a death fear for height. So when we were doing a ridge, when we reached the top, he was literally shaken, and that's just a program that's running, no? So we don't know when that happens, no? Somewhere in the hard disk, somewhere that yeah, it got written down, um, and the beautiful thing that so the fear was so strong that he had to surrender. So another thing is also surrender, no? And from the surrendering, we created a space personally, but also as a group, in a beautiful coherence, in caring for the person, but also becoming aware and taking the attention to another place, a much more beautiful place, and not the mind. So it's literally the mind, instead of being the master, becomes the helper of the heart. No, so we take that attention to the heart, and that's where you create from. And just in 10 minutes, the total situation changed. And actually, this person walked down by himself off the bridge, and in the next climbs that we did, he went in front in a totally another state, and that happened by surrendering and taking the attention to a more beautiful place, which is the place where the learning hub, no, the super learning state, where the basis is love, no, where we find awareness, openness, calmness, clearness, peace, joy. It's all there.
That's really something to look for. And going on that, if you had literally no constraints, what adventure would you embark on today?
Well, it's curious, no, because that's actually the sentence that we use a lot, no, in when people are envisioning. So no, when you're standing in the mountains and you're in front of the mountains and you don't have limits, and what would you be doing? I don't think I would change a lot in my life, to be honest. So, you know, I think I'm in a space where I can use my maximum talent, where, no, with my family as well. No, we're in a happy place. We're creating beautiful things. There's a lot of beautiful vision still in the space of possibility. So I think at this point I would not change anything, and I would just keep on going on the adventure that I'm in, no, and receiving any challenge on the way. So I don't know if that's a good answer, but but that's what I feel.
It's great.
Yeah.
I guess we all want to be there in that answer.
Yeah.
But you actually just mentioned that you want to continue on this journey.
Yeah.
Probably I'm going to ask you to taste your own medicine at the moment. So if you close your eyes and actually you transport yourself to, any of these situations you've been, in the last, 20, 30 years of your life in nature, can you maybe identify one great lesson that you received from nature yourself, that you really felt under your skin?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that would have to do with fire, actually. So when I visited the Bushmen, and I felt and I experienced how connected they were with nature and what fire means to them. And how they get into a different state of mind in a peak experience, where they, through music and fire and riddling and dancing, get into a state of trance, connecting to another space. So the first time that I visited them, for me it was, I saw it from a distance. But it was actually the second time when I had the chance to talk with the shaman, to get more understanding, And for me, probably one of the biggest insights was knowing that there is more beyond the visible. That was for me like the biggest insight, and that was later also confirmed by experiences by people that close to me, and knowing that we're visible beings, but there's so much more beyond when you close your eyes.
That is great. We need to look for that visit, because it surely looks like something that can transform you actually deep inside.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. Many people would say that any adventurer's end game is climbing the Everest, but I don't really think of it that way. I don't think it's. But at a symbolic level, what is your Everest? What would be, not as an end game, but actually as your surpassing yourself?
Yeah. So I think in previous conversations we talked about the term infinite, no? Mm-hmm. So it's not by so for me it wouldn't be reaching the Everest as a destination, neither as a journey, but as a dance, no? Which is not a possession, and my biggest vision is to create a serving community of people, where education, health, well-being, but also the financial part of society serves the whole. And I think everything that I'm doing, and also people surrounding me, are moving us towards that, no? Moving to be one in that place.
That's truly inspiring. We've had some discussions on that, and really let's hope we can see this place soon. But if we're not seeing it, at least we are imagining it, and that's already halfway.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's, listening to you, Gerard, it's almost visible to see how actually the Everest is possible in our lives and needed. Possible and needed.
And it's happening. It's happening.
It is, for sure. Do you want to suggest to us another song, another music?
Yeah, so I would propose El Canca. It's a Spanish song, and the name is Volar.
All right.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Well, we are back, and but we're not going to stay in the present for very long, because our next question, it's going to take you to 2030. So I want to ask you, how do you see the world 10 years from now, Gerard?
Yeah. So I don't control the world, but I do have my own vision, and so I feel that in the process of awakening, and also seeing how new generations are moving, that in 2030 we will definitely have more consciousness. People will be more aware of the intrinsic value of nature, and we will be moving towards a different educational system, a different financial system, and also due the inherent need of people of belonging to something. I think we are moving towards a place where people will live in communities again. No, so instead of the big cities, we will be moving towards communities, and having the feeling of living in a village again, and having that feeling of safety again, more consciousness, and also one of the important part is the educational system here. No, so it will definitely change, because the actual system doesn't serve the needs from now. No, and as we're in a very uncertain and volatile situation. We also need a educational system um, where children become prepared to move in such a space.
That's well, that kind of sets the tone for my next question, which is where would you like to focus your energy in the coming years or in the immediate future?
Yeah.
Certainly moving on to a better world. So
Yeah.
what's your focus?
Yeah, so keep on. So my focus is my daily focus is always trying to be in my center, because by being in my center, I know that yeah, the connections you attract with the people that are looking for something similar or for the same is very strong, and if I would make it concrete. So I will be keep on doing the wilderness trails because it's a beautiful way of serving yeah, the community, but at the same time, and it's interconnected, actually interrelated. Yeah, my big dream is creating that community.
And we look forward to get to visit your community.
Yeah, you're invited already. So
Gerard, I remember in some previous talk we had you sharing your experience of working with youth. I believe that's in an early stage of your professional life.
yeah.
And probably you saw things that maybe not so easy to understand back then, but maybe today, you know, with perspective, things are a
Yeah.
little bit more complete, let's say. Can you see in this outdoor experience, you know, as activities and actually walking as well, can you see as a driver of social peace and social change? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So, so traveling back to where well, I actually more or less started, no, when I was 19 years old. I worked with criminal youth, as they call it, and it was a test program in Holland, and I took yeah, youngsters between 16 and 18 years into nature for 7 days, and what I found, so one of a big learning there was actually also the judgments, no. So so bringing people into a space where they feel trust, where they feel safe, where they feel empowered, you literally yeah, you literally give the person the opportunity to be something different, no. Because if you don't have other references, that's just what you are and what you know. That's where your belief system is based on. So if we can offer a possibility, a space for people to learn in an environment where people feel trust, where they can be themselves and also explore parts of themselves that they still don't know, which is sometimes difficult, no? Because due to judgments, we follow the rules, no, or we follow the expectations of our fathers or mothers or our brothers or the teachers, no. But being in a space where you come into a plane of infinite possibility, where you can explore your personality, and where you can choose to be what you want, is very powerful.
Certainly is.
It is.
Do you want to suggest another song?
Yeah. So Sleeping at Last from Saturn, beautiful song.
It will take us a little bit to that quiet place, right?
Definitely straight to the heart.
Let's listen to it.
All right, this is we are getting close actually to the end of our podcast, and I still would like to elaborate a little bit on your Dutch heritage, because in the end of the day, this is also a great opportunity for us and from the people from different countries and geographies that are listening, actually to capture this uniqueness of our planet, which, by the way, comes with our differences and particularities. So, if you could look as an outside perspective into the Netherlands, into your cultural heritage, what would you bring forward and say, look, this is unique to us, and I cannot find this in any other place in the world. And everything is valid, so it can go from gastronomic to anything.
Yeah, so I think nowadays we're so connected that that things get quite mixed up. But pushing me to that limit to say something about that.
You're not going to say sushi, right?
So I think if you look in history and the culture of the Dutch, so generally speaking, you will find open-minded people that are traveling around, finding new references, and also in the actual movements in Holland, you can see a lot of consciousness toward nature, a lot. So there's a lot of beautiful projects going on. There is a lot of movement also outside the Netherlands with projects related to nature, to consciousness, awareness, building new communities, sustainable energy, etc., etc. So what I see from the outside now is that open mind, that mind that is always traveling around as a pirate, trying to find new waters, but at the same time also try to find new relations, on the journey. That's what I would,
all right,
light out on the Dutchies.
Great insight. So now this is like our final challenge. We do it on all our podcasts, and we're going to invite you to choose what you want to put into a time capsule. Imagine this time capsule is going to be thrown, somewhere, a message in a bottle or a capsule traveling through space, whatever. And someday in the future, someone will find it. What would you put in that time capsule?
Yeah, so I would say we're all connected. And that connection is based on love, which is a daily act of consistency, of placing your energy in the heart. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, because we might become cyborgs, or we might become in some future game where we don't control anymore, or other people control our mind. But I would say the magic is in the heart.
That's great.
So we should put Gerard's heart inside the time capsule.
Not yet, please.
Not so fast.
Well, but thank you so much. It was, like always, it is really an incredible pleasure to hear your heart actually talking. That definitely will touch, everyone that will have the chance to listen to this podcast. Thank you so much.
It's been great, inspiring, and actually quite a learning experience. So thank you very much for this talk.
And keep walking with us.
Yeah, keep walking with us.
Definitely. Thank you for the connection and the possibility to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.